Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on Asset Management Plan. In this webinar, operators, utilities, community members will receive an understanding of how to complete an asset management plan for water wastewater systems. This training will provide recommendations with your state regulatory agency, possible funding opportunities with an approved asset management plan, and how an asset management plan could be utilized for any possible natural disasters. I am Jessica Hester, the East Texas Coordinator for Communities Unlimited. Again, I will be today's speaker. I am Jessica Hester, the East Texas Coordinator, and I have been with Communities Unlimited since 2023. I am a double licensed operator for the state of Texas. Previously, before joining Communities Unlimited, I was a chief operator, and I do specialize in cross connections, asset management, FEMA public assistance, and TCEQ compliance. In today's webinar, the webinar logistics, certificates will be issued at the end of the webinar. So please add questions in the chat or question box. Slides can be downloaded, and there will be a survey at the end of the webinar. What is an asset management plan? An asset management plan is a plan to review all assets in a water and wastewater system to ensure the status of the assets and develop a financial plan for future needs and improvements for efficiency and reliability. So basically, an asset management plan gives you a 5-year forecast budget of your assets. This allows you to know the life of your system, where you need to focus on repair, replacement for budgeting purposes. Asset management plan inventory. I've listed a few examples in case you're wondering, what do you put on this asset management plan? I normally separate mine by sections, so I make sure I cover all areas of the system. So you can start with plant. A couple of examples you can do with that. You can start with your well, with everything that pertains to the well. You've got your wellhead, you've got the pump, you've got the control panels, you've got treatment equipment, just in case if you have chlorine, include all of your chlorine equipment, your scales, your chlorinators, storage tanks. Some may have electrodes in it. You might want to include those. You have different types of pumps, control panels, and generator. You could even put your controls for your generator with your transfer switches. Distribution, a couple examples could be your distribution lines, and you can do lines by sizes, surface lines, valves. You've got different types of valves, control valves, gate valves, flush valves. You've got fire hydrants, meters. For your office, you're going to have, for inside, your billing software, computers or printers that you use when you do your billing, and you also do your furniture in there. Equipment's another important area of assets. You have vehicles, trailers, heavy equipment, mowing equipment. This helps you keep compliance with TCEQ, and then lab and monitoring. A lot of these have wear and tear on them, and you definitely want to ensure that these are on here. You also have your property. There's office buildings, you have well houses, fences, and whatever else that you have in your system, you want to include these in here. Items to use to complete your asset management plan. Things that I have come across with documentation. You have operation and maintenance manual. These will show you your assets that you go through, how to utilize them, what you need to do. You may be able to find asset information like tank sizes, pump sizes, things like that. Emergency response plan, emergency preparedness plans. These will also have your assets listed with their information, and it also will have your generator information on here. Maps and blueprints. This will also help you with knowing what your distribution line sizes are, how many valves you have, fire hydrants, or anything else that you have in your system. Capital improvement plans. These will list your assets as long as with age, cost to replace. Repair, maintenance, and inspection records. These will let you know the last time that they were replaced, how much it cost you, and what was the information of the asset that you replaced. Purchase records can assist you with that too. Insurance policies. I've seen a few that it lists property and asset information, and this will give you the asset age, the cost for replacement. SCADA systems, you'll be able to get information on here too for your assets. Now for today's training purposes for the Asset Management Plan worksheet that we will be reviewing, I will be using the State Regulatory Agency, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, the Regulatory Guidance RG-501A, which is Managing Small Public Water Systems Part A, Asset Management Plan Excel worksheet. And then when you do get this Excel worksheet, there will be different tabs, and there's an introductory tab that explains to you the information that you're going to need to collect before you start this. And we previously went over, it's going to want to know your asset information, the age of that asset, how long do you expect it to be in function, and then what's the priority? Does this need to be replaced now? Can this wait in a year or two, or is this something that needs to be replaced annually? Now on for the tab that says Worksheet 1, System Inventory and Prioritization on the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality RG-501A Excel sheet. This form will allow you to conduct your inventory of your current equipment and plan for future needs. And you begin the system inventory and prioritization with, is this the initial inventory or is this an update? And the reason they have update on here is so if you have an implemented and approved asset management plan, it's best practice to review this annually to ensure that your budget is able to cover these costs. On one asset section right here, and where it says the example, this is where you're going to start your asset management plan inventory. This is where you're going to list, you can start with your source, you can start with distribution, you can start with equipment, property, and any inventory or assets that you have in your system, this is where you're going to start to list them. Here for number 2, redundancy, it's wanting to know, is there any backups for what you just listed as your inventory item? If not, then you're going to put none. But for an example of one, say you listed pumps, and you have 2 operational pumps, and then if one is to go out, you have one on backup, that would be redundancy. For number 3, expected useful life, you want to follow the manufacturer's guidance on that if you have it. If not, there is guidance in this Excel worksheet that will let you know an anticipated expected useful life for each items. So, for instance, for a well, they have it on here. There's no redundancy, and expected life is for 15 years. Number 4, age and years. If you're not aware of how old the asset is, you can try to look through your records, through your blueprints, maybe even speak to your engineer. They may have some information of how old the actual asset is. If not, if it's been replaced, you can look through, your purchase orders. You can look through if you've got capital improvement plans. These might be able to help you find the age of the asset. For 5 remaining useful life years, this is automatically populated for you. It comes from the number 3 expected useful life, hopefully from the manufacturer's recommendations. And then you have how old it is, the age. It'll subtract those two and automatically populate for you. For example, for the whale here, it has expected useful life of 15 years, but it's currently 9 years old. So it's going to leave you 6 remaining years of operation for that wellhead. And it'll also give you 6 years for expected replacement and refurbish. Cost to replace. Now you can get this from, look at your insurance if this asset is insured, and it'll give you an estimate of what it's cost for replacement. If not, you can review capital improvement plans, or you can even put in requests from a vendor, see what it costs for the replacement of that. Number 8, the priority, where you're going to rank this 1 to 5. 1's going to be highest priority, like you need to have this replaced immediately. 5 being the lowest. Now keep in mind, if you have something that needs to be replaced annually, you need to put that as a 1. Also look at the condition of your asset. Is it in bad shape? Even though it has expected life left on it, for instance for a pump, but it's overworked, it needs to be replaced pretty soon, use your judgment on this. This is based off of your system. You know your system, and you know what the priorities are. On worksheet 2 for comprehensive planning, right here for 1 where it says asset, you're going to take all of your inventory that you have put on worksheet 1, and you're going to put those assets over here, but you're going to put them by priority. You're going to list them by 1 highest priority, like these need to be done now, or these are annual replacements, and you're going to list them all the way down to 5. On number 2 for activity, you want to be as descriptive as you can on what you need to do for this asset. If it needs to be replaced, it needs to be replaced. If there's more details in there that you need to add, make sure you put it in here. 3, year until action is needed. This is going to come from your worksheet 1. So this is going to let you know how long you have till you need to replace or do this activity on this asset. Number 3, year until action is needed. This is auto-populated for you on worksheet 1, and this is where you're going to put this here. So for instance, we had 6 years left on the well pump, and so here that's where you're going to put how long you have left of the life expectancy. 4, cost of activity. This is going to come from worksheet 1 as well. This is going to be the estimate that you have to repair or replace the asset. Now for number 5, reserved required per year for this asset. This is going to automatic populate for you here. So once you're able to put the asset, the activity, the year action is needed, and the cost of activity, it's going to show here what you need to have annually as a budget to help reserve for when it's time to replace this asset. Here on the budget tab, at the top, it's going to want to know your average rate of inflation and your average rate of growth and decline. You're probably thinking, where do I find this? You can probably go on to your census website and put in the information for your area, and this will let you know what the inflation and growth and decline rates are for you. And then for your current reserve account, you're going to put this in here in the blue cells where the funds are carried over from the previous year. What cash do you have on hand? So this is the information you're going to put here. On the next section, under items, it says water charges, usage fees, and service charges, current revenue from interest or other income. This is where you're going to put the information into the blue cells. You can pull, if you have financial audits, you can get the information from here. Or if you have annual financials, then you can get the information from those to input here. In this section here, it's going to want your budget information. It is already itemized for you here. They've got a regular maintenance and repair section, which you can put your cost of performing regular or routine maintenance and repair on equipment. This also can include for your vehicle maintenance and fuel. Utilities, rent, and other overhead. Other overhead may include billing, building, maintenance, cleaning, etc. Your salaries and benefits. This is where you're going to include your administrative and operation staff. Operating supplies. Operating supplies not classified anywhere else. This includes safety gear, equipment, uniforms, janitorial expenses. Then you have equipment leases, purchases, and repairs. This includes all leases. Chemicals. Chemicals expensed in prior years but not used should be included for initial budgets, just in case something, say like you had a chemical removed, you didn't need it anymore, water quality changes, you need to implement it back. Then you have monitoring and testing. This includes your laboratory fees, projected monthly and annually sample requirements. Insurance and bonds, cost of insuring buildings, equipment. Professional services, this is where you'll have for your accounting fees, legal fees, engineering fees, or any other professional fees that your system has. Training costs and licenses, cost of operator training courses, and all license renewal fees. Any training costs that you concur with your system, this is where you want to put this in here. Security, if you have security implemented for your system, you're going to put the cost of maintaining security as far as fencing, alarms, things like that. Debt payments, you want to include those in here. If you have loans for equipment, loans for your system, put those in here. Transfer to reserve funds for capital improvements, then you want to include that in this section too. All things that's in your budget that were not listed in here, you can include those in the other section. You want to ensure once you finish this that these line items on the total expenses match what your budget states. Once you've completed your total revenue and your total expenses, then it will auto-populate for you for the net income budget of your system. On the projected revenues and expense spreadsheet here, the only information that you need to put in is in the blue cells. And so for the secure funding, you only input here if you have gotten a loan for a system or if you've been awarded a grant. And you will put this in for the year that you've been awarded, and this will adjust the forecasted budget for that year for you. So it may look a little high at first, but once you put your loan or grant information that you've been awarded, it will drop the forecasted budget for you. On the projected rate increase needed, this is where you're going to put your total connection count in the blue cell down here for the monthly rate increase per connection. Now, this is going to show you per year on your forecasted budget here on your expenses, how much you need to go up each year on your rates. It is suggested here to get an independent rate study to be conducted for your actual rate increases. These are only suggestions off of what your current expenses and revenues are. On the projected capital expense sheet, this will automatically populate for you. You won't have to put any information on this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet is for you to review the asset, the cost, the year needed, and the number of years until action needed, and then it will show you the reserves that you need for this asset per year, and it will also give you the total of what it costs to repair, which you input on worksheet 1 and worksheet 2. This just gives you an overview of each asset. On the annual revenue and expense comparison graph, this is going to be the information that you input into your budget and revenue page. And this is going to give you a visual representation of what your annual revenues are versus the expense comparison. On the reserve savings and shortfall graph, this is going to show you the projected 5-year totals here for your assets, and it's going to give you a visual of how much you have in your reserve savings versus how much do you need by the end of the year per year by the priority of now all the way from 1 to 5. Why is an asset management plan important? Well, for one, it helps you to stay on top of your annual budget. It lets you know what do you need to be budgeting for. It helps you to review your water and wastewater rates. Are you covering these repairs and replacements that you need to do with your system? An asset management plan also gives you a future forecast. Once these asset management plans are approved and implemented, they can also assist you with mitigation for a potential natural disaster. Now, once you've completed your asset management plan, you're going to want to review your annual budget. It's essential to review for your expenses, revenue, reserves, or for any capital improvements. For the asset management plan for your system, it's basically just gave you a 5-year forecasted budget. So you want to review your current annual budget to ensure that those are the same. And then once you have completed your asset management plan, you would definitely want to look into possibly talking to your board members or your city councils and see if this can be adopted or implemented. After completing your asset management plan, it's highly recommended to review water and wastewater rates because you want to make sure that you're covering your operational cost of your system. Are there any capital improvements that you need to plan for? For example, you've got that 5-year forecasted budget now. We need to make sure that your rates are going to cover what those forecasts are. It helps you ensure that you have the funding that you need in place. And once you have these water and wastewater rates, they're good to go with your cost, and it's covering your budget. You could possibly look for assistance for loans, for repairs or equipment replacement, or grants. It just prepares you financially moving forward for your system to have these looked at and make sure that everything is covered. Future forecast planning. With the asset management plan, you do get a 5-year projection for upgrades, repairs, and improvements. Kind of gives you an overview of what your system is. What kind of shape is it in? What do you need a plan for to get your system up to speed? You know, if you've got a storage tank that needs to be repaired, you know, it's got some corrosion, you know, you need to start planning for that. If you've got old distribution lines, you have constant leaks and repairs, you need to start planning for that too. Say you have old meters. They're not reading correctly anymore because they're not calibrated, so you're losing revenue. Those are things that helps you plan for the future for repairs and improvements and these future forecast plannings. Disaster planning is very imperative for every system, every utility, every community. As far as having your asset management plan, if you haven't implemented and having one of these, it does prepare you. It gives you a visualization of what are your weak points. What do you need to prepare for before the disaster? You know, just for instance, Recently, with the cold snaps, what are your shape of your generators? What's the shape of your wellhead? Do you have pumps that are on their last year? You know, you review these asset management plans to see what's the priorities, and it helps you focus on where you need to keep things running for your system. Another way that asset management plans can assist you with disasters is, unfortunately, after a disaster happens, the main goal of disaster recovery is pre-disaster conditions. So this will help you refer back to what was the shape of this item that was damaged? What was the cost of it? It really does help the public assistance request move a little easier having this stuff on hand. Funding. Here in the state of Texas, they have the Texas Water Development Board, in which they do offer state revolving fund. And then there is a new program called the AMPS, in which they assist the small water and wastewater systems in creating and implementing an asset management plan. These systems will be able to choose a pre-qualified contractor and to work with them to create an asset management plan, operations and maintenance manuals, compliance manual, and other management tools. There is no financial match required by the system, but they will be required to contribute at least 80 hours of their staff time towards this project. You also have United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, and there's other fundings. I'm sure there's different ones in each state. You want to review and see what options you do have. If you would like to have technical assistance completing your asset management plan, we can assist with recommendations, assist with developing your asset management plan. We can assist you with budgeting, assist you with SOPs. We can also assist you with funding assistance. We can also be the liaison between community and regulatory agencies. So if you're interested in having technical assistance, there are options out there to assist you. Anytime you're doing anything for your water or wastewater systems, I'd always refer to your regulatory agencies so you make sure that you adhere to compliance regulations. If you need more information on that, you can look into the United States Environmental Protection Agency, which is the EPA, or your state regulatory agency. I do appreciate everybody attending today's webinar. If you have any questions, we are open for those now. Be on the lookout for your certificates. And if you need any other assistance, just reach out and let us know.